Aftercare After Dark is intended for mature audiences. If you're under the age of 18, we would ask you to leave this broadcast immediately and patiently await your formal invite to the grown folks table. We sometimes discuss topics that can be triggering for some. Please refer to the show's notes for episode-specific trigger warnings and resources. Thank you for listening.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Aftercare After Dark. My name is Miss G.
And I'm Yolanda. We're two sisters helping each other navigate these kink streets. Aftercare is time spent communicating and taking care of your partner after sex and or play. But who does this vital work when you're single? We are here for each other and those of you who are also exploring. So for today, defining terms part two. Defining terms part two, because one of the things that happened over the weekend while we were together, again, I was like, I don't know what she means by this. Platonic play partner. And then I discovered a whole new things that I didn't quite understand before I became aware of. So I thought we'd delve right back into how we identify, what we mean when we use certain terms, what's passable for relationship styles, all of the things that we have come to either agree on, still disagree on, or understand better, because I learned some things.
You had some clarity. You had an epiphany.
I did. I learned what non-sexual play actually was. Thanks, Chi. Like, I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand how a certain activity, and that's the thing. I don't think I've been with another person while doing physical education, right? So I haven't done the classes that I want. I want to take caning classes and I want to take bondage classes. I want to take rope classes. I want to do all of these things and I haven't done those things yet. And so in my head, I've seen these things done. Like I've seen it between partners. I have not seen it between friends. But having experienced it as your friend, I was like, okay, this is something different. This is something different and it has its own categories.
Quite a learning curve. And I think I've mentioned it before because you're like struggling mentally to understand some of these things. And I was like, just wait till we're together and I'll show you. And I also got to learn from you too. There's like asexuality and you are very much in it. I'm a little bit more of the gray sexual because I can go between allosexual and asexual side, but like I've never met anyone who could reach pinnacle reach the pinnacle of pleasure just by looking and watching something. That was different for me. And of course, this is coming from somebody who actually watches porn, but I prefer to read my porn. So we got to like learn some things and
No,
gain
it's
clarity on some things.
yeah, no, voyeurism is in my matrix. I like to watch. I really, really do. And I've been actually investigating the reasons behind it. From the time I was a kid, my dreams rarely involve me. My dreams are me looking at something. I'm a spy in my dreams. It's like watching a movie. It's like watching a movie. So even the dirty dreams are something of a cinematic experience for me. So actually doing that in real life, like it's like that's good. It's one of those things. And there are different variations on voyeurism, on exactly what sets me off about watching, but it's there and it's strong. It's not a little. I need to do this. I need to do this. It's an expression for me. It's sexual expression, right? So that's one of the things. So jumping into it, the thing that I will never ever get over is casual because it is one of those amorphous, non-specific things. And the more I read about casual relationships and casual dating, I get pros, I get cons, I get ways to do it, but I don't get a good definition. So for me, from doing all of this reading, there is casual as in no strings attached, NSA. I don't do. That's not my thing. That is not my thing in relationship. It's not my thing in sex. I cannot handle, I don't do one night stands. I don't enjoy myself that much the first time. I'm nervous. I don't know you well enough. I don't know your body well enough. Casual for you, Miss J.
I think casual for me is more of the NSA. Casual for me is like I'll see you when I see you. So like if I run into you at a space at an event, we're friendly enough to be able to say hi and stuff like that. But as far as like spending time outside of the event and like you coming over to my house and us having a sexual slash romantic attachment, that's what casual means to me. So it's very much like NSA. But I think like when people use NSA, they're also using NSA as a way to neglect emotional responsibility. They're using NSA as a word to like justify neglect of a person. Casual to me is more of like reflective of the relationship itself. When we use poly terms like nesting is a
Mm.
type of attachment, romantic attachment. I don't treat people casually, especially when I play. We kind of like over negotiate, but as far as like the responsibility to each other, relationship to each other, carrying on outside of the space, that's what casual means to me. Like we don't have that.
And then there's also the other side of casual, which is some people, when they say casual, means I'm going to have multiple partners. It could be consensual non-monogamy. It can be ethical non-monogamy. There are different practices. The funny thing about it is a lot of my relationship kerfuffles revolve around getting serious. And I'm like, I'm keeping on. Like, I'm not settling down, okay? Like, I am still actively looking for partners. I do not find myself thinking about there's my one and only. I don't believe in that. I don't believe there's a one and only for me. That's for me. I did one and only 3 times. I didn't like it. Even before things went poorly or things took a turn, I would question, like, is this it? I'm kind of bored. I don't know. Like, I was never attached to the idea of being with one person all of the time or most of the time or ever. Like those are the 2 terms that come up the most for there's a way to do this casually, right? No strings attached. I see you when I see you. And then also the we're going to see other people casual type of thing. Like for me, I might be casually dating everybody according to definition because it's never going to be about monogamy for me. Again, my matrix, right? Non-monogamous. I'm not that person.
So casual sex, I think, is a little bit of the subtext that falls under E&M. And I think from somebody who has mixed attachment, casual works a lot for, and this falls under like kink shaming, body shaming, sex positivity, all those things. If that's where you're at, casual is what a lot of people use if they want to explore themselves without the attachment, because a lot of people have attachment issues.
Or you could just want to. Allosexuals, this is what it is. You see someone from across the room, sparks fly. You get to agree really, really quickly on what you are and are not going to do. And hopefully you do things safely and consensually and everybody's happy and you leave and you never talk to the person ever again. That to me, that's no strings attached. Now, if you keep coming back, regardless of what a person says, okay, a lot of people say a lot of things and I'm learning the hard way. A lot of people will say they want a thing and not want that, or not know what they want, not know who they are, not be in the space mentally, emotionally, wherever you are, you might not have room for that. So if you don't and you still want to get your freak on, I'm not judging you. But we are talking about our own personal preferences. You're not going to convince me to be like the people that are like that. I'm not like that. I need one.
I think for me, because I know this about myself, like I want the all consuming one and only kind of thing. But and then for me, it's also like, is that really what I want? Or is that just like how I've been programmed to want the things? And is that more of like psychological, my own emotional fucking attachment issues? Is that more of a romanticization kind of thing? That's why I'm afraid to get that, because I have this uncanny ability to just morph myself into whatever that person needs or wants me to be. So like the casual label worked for me at the time when I was going through it, because I needed to learn what I wanted. I needed to learn about what I liked. I needed to learn myself. And now I do. Now I'm ready for the deeper stuff. And the deeper stuff is just not casual. The deeper stuff cannot be touched in a casual setting. So like there's a way to have casual, there's a way to have those casual flings, as some might call it, while still treating the person with care and while still being honorable, you know, like with integrity and leaving people better than when you met them. Sex in them, it's a valuable, it's a wonderful tool for like stress relief.
Listen, like part of the pleasure of doing this and part of the joy of doing this is sometimes being wrong. Like sometimes being wrong, sometimes being very, very right. For me, I don't think I've moved off my mark. I think my mark has just expanded. There are things that I have learned along the way that I'm like, oh, wait, but there's more. Like, there are things that I want to do, things that I want to experience that I haven't yet. And every time something new comes up, I'm like, I want to try that. I'm still in my experimental phase as I am gaining skills for doing what I want to do. Okay, next, friends. This is sticky for me. It's been sticky for me for the last few months. I've been more social, so exposed to more people. More people have shown interest. And this is not online. This is talking like out in real life. So having to set boundaries and really, really be very, very clear with people. And I joke and I flirt. I'm a heavy flirt. I'm a heavy flirt, but like my limits, my foundations, what I want out of life, they
Okay.
don't change. So like for me, friends is a relationship and it's one of the most like sacred ones to me. I've fallen apart over a friend breakup more heavily than any romantic one ever. I've hit a bottom, missing someone, also knowing that that person is toxic and not good for me, and having to sever ties and really not entertain forming that back up again because what went wrong with us is fundamental to her being. She did not regard me in the same way that I regarded her, did not take care of me and hurt me. It's been a year and a little bit, and I tear up every time I talk about it. So, like, my friendships are close relationships with people that I don't have sex with. I'm very intimate with my friends. I realized this because I went to visit you. I went to visit another friend. Wherever I went with this other friend, they thought we were together. Wherever I went with you, the assumption was that we were together. And I feel like I don't change. I don't change with people. I don't adopt something different for my lovers than what I adopt for my friends. The difference between my friends and my lovers is that I don't sleep with my friends. I don't. That's what friendship is to me. I'm not sleeping with you. I love you. I love you.
I think we had a little bit of a moment too before at the Vancouver Fetish Weekend because like I mentioned something about play and you kind of like bristled. This is more than once and you're like, I won't do that. I'm not open to that, but I'm open to this. I'm like, listen, I just want you to understand that that's a boundary for me too, right? So like if it's a boundary for you, trust that it's a boundary for me too. And I'm not going to keep pushing and I'm not going to try to feel you out. Like, for me, on my point of view, you are my friend. I love you. You're exploring. I want to allow you the space to explore safely because we're both struggling to find relationships where we can explore. So like, let's negotiate. And for me, it's like, I'm just giving you the space to explore. And I just hope that you understand that it is something that I absolutely respect. And I will not pressure you or try to feel you out on any of it.
So where we got play partners, where do they fall? I would not adopt someone on a regular basis to play with who was my friend. I didn't have romantic feelings for. I didn't have sexual feelings for. I would not repeatedly play with a friend. We had a play session, right? But it was non-sexual. I found out something about myself. I like to be tied up. I like the ropes. Oh, wait, I like this sensation. I really, really, really like this sensation. I've always been attracted to the ropes. I didn't think that I would be the one that was like.
So I wanted to touch on that level of comfort and intimacy that we share, that level of safety that you feel. We did rope play together. I took pictures of you fucking naked. I would assume if we ever at a party and shit like that, you'd be cool with fucking your partner over here and I'm over here doing my own thing. That's what I'm talking about. There's a way to negotiate play depending on what's on the table for everybody, but like have a friendship and it's a different kind of level because you have your friendship and they're intimate. When you're friends with your play partners, it's a different level of intimacy as well.
Yeah, like I didn't feel like a boundary was pushed or hit. It wasn't sexual. That's not the feeling that I got. I liked it. It was a pleasure to me physically, but it was not in the sexual way. I thought of it in the way that I think of massage. Like I'm going into a professional place with a professional person who's using their hands to help my body because I require it, but it's not a sexual thing. It's very pleasurable for me.
Right. So we played as far as like rope play. This is what we did. I did a rope scene with her and I tied a harness on her. Our relationship is platonic. That play was non-sexual. And so that's kind of like where that goes for me. So our relationship is platonic for me because I am allosexual and I've actually learned this boundary during that weekend. When I play with a platonic partner, our relationship is platonic. The activity negotiated in the scene may not necessarily be platonic, but our relationship is.
And that's my thing. If I touch somebody's thingy too many times, we're not friends. I can't.
And that's fine. But like for me, it's different. It's a service thing. When I'm servicing my sub and slash client, unless we're in a romantic attachment or like sexual relationship, I don't feel sexual pleasure. Now, like on the reverse side, if I was woman and the bottom and the top was male and he was getting erection out of it, that would bother me.
Okay, it's still confusing to me. And I also think, given my disposition, sensation for me is complicated, like bodily sensation. I was entirely ecstatic. I had a ton of sex in my head. So I had a ton of pleasure without being touched by another person. Like to complete that, I can cross my legs and that's it. I'm spent. I'm done. Like it's so hard to explain, but you did see it. You did witness.
I did. It blew my mind. So like how like some of the things that you learned blew your mind, some of the things I learned that weekend blew my mind. About like, oh wow, people like you exist. Interesting.
Yeah, like it was the term hedonist. Like I'm pleasure seeking and I can get it in a lot of ways. Physically touching me, like I find pleasure in that, but it's not the only way I get there. It's not the only way I get there. So there's pickup play, right? And I was like, that's not me, that's Greta. But I did pick up play as long as I can keep my clothes on and you don't touch me. But you can't touch me.
You were walking on people.
I was like, oh, I like that. You know, it was my equivalent of no strings attached. But it was highly erotic, highly charged. There was some intimacy. It was semi-physical. And I had a blast. I had a blast.
That's casual.
It is casual.
Because I'm never going to see you again. We're not going to text each other. You don't have my number. You're not going to email me. So that's casual play.
Yeah, no, oh boy, I'm never going to see him again.
But the intimacy comes from safety, checking in with each other, make sure the other person is safe, making sure the other person is enjoying themselves. That's intimacy, safety, emotional security, and safety.
Quick for the lightning round. Pronouns.
She, her, for me.
Same thing. Sexuality.
So this is new. Well, not new, but more of clarity because you're the one who pointed out. I'm like, you're straight. So I adopted the queer label because of the questioning aspect. The queer label is like people who don't want to conform to society's normative stuff. And then like those of themselves questioning their sexuality. I'm very much questioning my sexuality. So I think I'm definitely like straight, but like heteroflexible subtext. Because like anytime I fantasize about the future, anytime I think about my person, I have a man.
And it's never a man for me. Am I a reluctant lesbian? Is that what kind of lesbian I am? Am I a lesbian who relapses every once in a while? I know, I'm still bisexual. I have a narrow range of things that I like in the male species than I do the female species. And you saw me back forth with different types of people, different expressions and everything else like that. So I still identify as a bisexual, as in this is my sexual behavior. This is what I do. I am having sex with men and I'm having sex with women. I'm also biromantic. I want to have relationships with women. And listen, if you are some kind of mythical creature out there, you've got it. You know how to lead me as a male. You've got it all. You've got it all. And we get along. Listen, I'm open to it, but in general, and I don't believe in primary partners, so I don't know, but like I want intimate sexual relationships with women. How's it going to work? I don't know. Am I too old to be this whorish? I'm not entirely sure.
No, hell no. Do you not know the statistics of STDs, STI contractions in fucking nursing homes?
Yeah, but I'm not that dusty hoe. No, I'm not too old to be a whore, but I'm like too want to have a relationship and still be as whorish as the U-Haul is never coming in here. It's solo poly. I'm going to live alone. I'm going to live alone. There are going to be people here though. You know, there are going to be people here, but you got to hit the road.
I'm definitely romantically straight, right? Sexually, I'm definitely pansexual. I love the butches. I love the mass presenting individuals. I like the femme presenting, and I do like the envies too. But like, I have a spot for cross dressers and mask presenting men in corsets and makeup in full drag. I don't know what it is, but I fucking love it. Yeah, so that was like my little clarity. I definitely struggled when you pointed it out, but I was like, you know what? That's where we're at. If it changes, we'll have another one of these episodes.
I know, right? Yeah, like so. Yeah, no, I'm still queer. I
We touched it a little bit when we were like talking about like women prefaces. I'm attracted to the tomboy femmes, the tomboy ladies. Okay, like Gina Carano, Michelle Rodriguez. These are the badass ladies, mommy.
So what I realized being out in the wild as the baby queer that I am, maybe we need to do another woman episode, or maybe I just need to do another woman episode. There were some things that I got to experience from people in different shapes and sizes. And I guess you can call me a size queen, but like the size queen, it can come in 70 pounds or it can come in 400 pounds. I realized that I like extremes. I like size differential. It is a thing. And we're not talking about age play. Not age play. Still freaks me out.
Size differential.
Size differential, the visual, right? Big guy.
Giantess. That's what that cake is.
But the itty bitty things, the elves too. Okay. I like it all. So that range for me has expanded. So when it comes to gender expression, I have always thought of myself as more feminine than anything else. I do have some quirks, deeper voice, a lot of muscle. I can dress on the androgynous side. I can present in the androgynous side, but I used to get butthurt for being called masculine when I was a child. It was a scar. It's a scar, one of those thick keloids on my heart about being confused as a boy when I was coming of age, when I was in my tween years. So between the age of 10 and 13, when people first met me, they didn't mean any offense. They weren't being mean, but my hair was very, very short. I thought that I was a little boy. And I cried so many tears over it. So like I always have fiercely defended, even with you. No, I'm a woman. I'm a different kind of woman, but like I'm a woman. I'm a feminine, femme woman. Apparently not. Apparently not. I cross some lines. I am perceived to cross some lines. I'm leaning into crossing some lines on the masculine side. I'm here for it.
I think you're more gender queer than anything. Gender queer, gender nonconforming. That's definitely something that hits you. I've also been called boy, but in a different context, kamaloa. So that's like man. And that was like more in reference to my strength because anytime anybody needed to move a couch or lift heavy things, I got lumped in with the working party. I was always with the boys. I was always out on patrol with the men's. I was always on camp guard with the men's. And I wore that armor as well my entire life, into my early 20s because of being sexualized at a very, very young age. I was not comfortable. I loved being femme presenting. I was not comfortable in my own body. I was heavily sexualized from the age of 12. So I was a tomboy. And I wore it as armor. And it wasn't until 21, 22 when I started wearing dresses and makeup. And I was 24 when I started doing my hair. So now this is where we're at. You also got to see me in vanilla work clothes. And I'm very much like, I'm in work mode, cargo pants, baggy tees, all those things. I like comfort, but I also like dressing up. So I get a lot of people, oh, you don't need makeup. I was like, I know I don't need it. I like it. I like it.
I used to hear these things all the time when I was younger. I think you get to a certain age, people are starting to recognize I have this demeanor. It's really like, I get tested a lot, but like I don't get tested in some ways anymore. And that is one of them. Be dumb. Be dumb and tell me I look better without makeup or you like them natural. I don't give a what you like. The pandemic taught me so many things. And one of them is everything that I do as far as my appearance is concerned, it's about me. It's not about trying to find a partner. I like presenting to the world in a certain way. I like my color theory and putting things together. I like the appreciation and the attention I get when I'm out. I appreciate these things and I strive towards that. That's what I do. This is not a hardship. I'm comfortable in my getup. I love everything about it. It's a look, it's a mood, it's a vibe. And I pass the checks all the time. Learning to come into my own and be like, I'm feeling myself and it's okay.
I look at it as decoration. You take an ordinary tree that you see every single day and you put ornaments on it, and suddenly it's extraordinary.
My plumage.
It's not necessarily like I need it every day. I like it. I like switching it up. I like variety. We need that.
And I also realized the things that I wear to these events I'm more comfortable in them than I am sometimes in my street clothes. But I've been not dressing in street clothes for a long time now. Some people say don't get too gussied up for a date, but because I work from home, I'm going to get gussied up because I'm leaving my house and I want people to appreciate it. I'm going to do that. I like the decoration, but it's also armor. Like walking into a room, nonverbal communication. Who's that? I would like to. So I have super feminine. You wouldn't know anything about my disposition if I walk into a room in my florals or something like that. I also have my hard edge. I have a three-piece suit. I've got my vests. I have my corsets. I can do high formal. And I can also do like super bright, super fun, and super playful. Like I can do different things and it's not a character. It is just an expression of who I am. I own 3 pairs of jeans and I rarely wear them unless I'm doing something special with them. I don't wear them. Yeah, I like getting dressed up. I like my fashion.
I love that you call it drag. I call it drag in my head now. And it's armor. You're putting on a face. You're putting on your costume, putting on a thing. It's just like the same way men want to wear their suit.
It
you
puts
know?
context to you. If you want context when you go out and you don't want people to be confused, start dressing intentionally.
What does it
And
signal?
it
Okay.
signals, hey,
You're
this
taking
is who I am. And I'm
you
all
take
like,
care of yourself.
well, it's not even just that. It's not even just taking care of yourself. So
It's more
like,
of like you care about your appearance.
yeah,
And that matters.
some people are disposed to, like, I'm a dandy. Okay. I'm a dandy. That's what I want to do.
It signals care and attention. That's what it means. It signals care and attention. When you present yourself a certain way, like, okay, she handles business. I can trust my children with her. I can trust my business with her. I can trust my vulnerabilities with her. That's what that means. If I show up in sweats and whatever it is, ain't nobody going to want to spend time with you. Complain all you want, all the incels out there, but it matters. So the ones who complain most about that are usually the ones living in mommy and daddy's basement, not going anywhere.
Okay, so the friend zone. You wanted to talk about the friend. I've never understood the friend zone because things can change. Friends to lovers is a thing for me. So, like, ultimately, the design of my relationships, I wish things could work a little differently. Like, where you are friends for a while, you don't touch each other, you talk about these things which you like, but you don't like. You get to know each other, you know each other's temperaments, and you've seen enough of each other out in the wild to know how this person also treats other people. And then, if we feel the sexy sexies after all of that, yeah, friend zone doesn't exist to me.
The friend zone is a social construct. I remember this started popping up when I was like somewhere in my senior year of high school. And so, like, it's a social construct. It was a term and a label that was originated and created by men to project their bitterness and disappointment at your boundary. Because that's what that is. I like you as a friend. I see you as a friend is a boundary. So the ones who project, oh, she friend zoned me, that's out of bitterness and that's out of disappointment because you sexualized her and she doesn't reciprocate.
You see me twitching over here. I'm just like, and I had this happen to me at the airport too. Anytime you want to assert some manness about like how I should behave, how I should present, how I should be in this world, I'm not for you. I don't have time for you. You can go ahead. I don't have time to even entertain. You obviously don't have any respect for me. And if you don't have any respect for me, if you cannot give me the baseline, this is another human being I'm communicating with, until they show me otherwise, I will let them be. No, do not entertain the foolishness when it comes to that nonsense. If you are hurt in a relationship style with me, then move on. If I say that we are friends and I do not have interest in you in that way, I mean it.
For anybody, no matter what gender, for anyone to sit here and harbor and stew in bitterness and resentment, that's a you problem. That's your problem. It ain't mine.
Yeah.
Nobody
So
asked you to be here. For example, from the other person's end, I genuinely love and care for you as a friend slash brother. That's genuine for me. I care about you. I care about your successes. I care about your losses. I care about whether you're happy. I care about whether you're sad. I care about you and I love you. If I don't see you in a romantic slash sexual way, that's a boundary. You either respect it or you get the out. That's it.
yeah, again, the covert contracts, right? And I had to tell myself this too, was that I held on to a relationship for far too long, knowing that I didn't like it. I wasn't enjoying myself because the person treated me well. they're not doing anything wrong, so I should still be here because they're treating me nice. And I was like, but this is not what I want. And I have to be affirmative about the relationships and the relationship styles that I want. It has to be intentional. It has to be something that I have felt and want to. So even though perfect behavior, I felt the safety component, the affinity, my nethers were not excited. They were not excited. So I did not want to continue to get naked with a person, even though they were lovely. I didn't want to continue doing that. Part of that is like, even if someone is treating you nice, does not necessarily mean they want to be there either way. So like, I didn't want to be there. So I had to say goodbye. And I hope that it was well received. Even if it wasn't, I know that I didn't ghost. I have not ghosted to date anyone. I'm so proud of myself. I have said a proper goodbye to anyone I've made a substantive connection with. Now I have had to block people. I will block you, but I've never met you. You don't know me, so that's fine. But I have not ghosted anyone that I've actually met in person or video. If I've seen your face, then I have said goodbye.
Clarity. I had a recent experience, and I think I've told you this in the last one. I had a recent experience with a gentleman, and he had seen me at events. These are kink events, 1, 2, 3 times. And then I said, hey, let's get a date on the books. And we had our first date. And he was the one who dropped the friend zone comment. And as soon as he did that, everything in me just sort of like went still. I took about 2 days to process. And then like I texted him yesterday and basically told him my boundary. I'm like, I'm not interested in you. I'm not ever interested in anybody who expresses disappointment and dismay, that I do not look at them sexually and romantically. I'm learning that when I go still inside and I go quiet inside, there's something there. And every time I have felt that feeling is because somebody wants something from me and they're not communicating it out loud. So this gentleman, he wanted me to like him. I was like, I like you as a person. I enjoy being around you. It was fun. He wanted me to like him sexually. He wanted me to enjoy him sexually. He just didn't want to say it out loud. But like that friend zone comment, immediately red flag. I mentioned, was like, okay, so let's talk about relationship dynamic. It's like, how do you feel about brother sister? Because that's what I'm feeling. Immediately his face fell, just like the grimace. I was like, oh, the friend zone. I was like, oh, I thought that you were like, oh, whatever you want, whatever makes you feel safe. And then when I bring out what I want, your immediate expression just goes disappointment. I was like, okay, then explain to me the difference between that dynamic. And he did, and it was valid. And then the friends with benefits, because I told you, when you're a friend, you're platonic. Don't ever expect that from me. So like, how is that different? Because you want something from me that you're not communicating out loud. That's a defining terms and a red flag.
Let's go into friends with benefits. Let's go into friends with benefits because that's where I'm at right now. My thing is that my friendships are close. And I know what the word acquaintance means. People that I see in passing, people that, have a skill or a connection that I might reach out to. Hey, how you been? Remember me from this event and you gave me your information. I was wondering if you could reach out to, right? Like those are the things. But then there's the heifers in the group chat. There's me and you. There's me and my other friends who have had 4 decades. My oldest friend knows me from high school. So those relationships are important to me. I show up for those people. I root for those people. I want to know when you're up. I want to know when you're down. Like if you disappear for a while and that's not in your personality, because I do have friends that need time and they need space. And so I won't hear from them for a little while. And then a month will go by, they'll come back and there we are, as if nothing happened. But these are relationships that are years and years long. And it also depends on where you are in life, right? I have married friends who have kids. I don't talk to them as much as I talk to my single women friends who have single woman time. My older friends are more available to me than my younger ones because they're still having kids and they have full-blown lives, but I care about them and I think about them. And when I think about people, this is something I learned during the pandemic, I reach out to them. I do. And it doesn't have to have like an immediate response or like a very long response, but that's what friendship is. It is a intimate and close relationship. And I share my wins with my friends, and I learned that it is very, very healthy to share my losses with them as well. Like friend is important to me. It is a very, very important relationship model for me. So when people say we're just friends, and I was like, I'm not just friends with anybody. ultimately, I want all of my relationships to be friends with benefit. But we are still stuck on this thing where it's not, we're friends and we get goodies and we feel good about our relationship. It's buddy. That's what people mean. Tell me I'm wrong. Get in the comments and tell me that I'm wrong.
Yeah, so there is a demographic and subtext of groups of people like us who are trying to reclaim that label. They're trying to reclaim that label because it's like friends first, benefits negotiable. That's me. So like for me and you, I love you as a friend. Benefits negotiable because our friendship is a benefit in and of itself. The surplus, the extra stuff, let's negotiate what that looks like. I already know role play is on the table. I already know photography's on the table for us because we've done it twice now. But there is a group of people out there who are reclaiming that label because it's being thrown around as a label to lure people into sexual activities with you while also making excuses for emotional neglect.
Again, if you want no strings attached and you want NSA and you want casual, pay someone not
and
to
then
care.
Negotiate. And I've had people who approached me with who wanting to be friends, and as soon as I told them that sex is never going to be on the table for us, and if that's what you want, pay me, all of a sudden they're not interested. So like, you're not interested in being friends.
What you
You're
want is
interested
sex. Pay me for it.
You're not interested in being friends. You want the benefit of the sex, except you want the things to benefit you. And that's just not how this works. If you want the friends with benefits, I'm the one at risk here. I'm the one at risk for being emotionally neglected and dysregulated. I'm the one with the most risk. So like, I get to choose the benefit. And if it doesn't align with you, you pay me. You pay me because my friends don't neglect me.
We haven't moved off of that. We're not confused in that thing. So romantic yearnings from where we started to like now, have we changed what the model looks like? I know what I started with. I started with a girlfriend who has a girlfriend, a boyfriend who has a boyfriend, a couple for the soft stuff, and a couple for the hard stuff. That's how I started. It's gotten a little bit more nuanced, but the template is still there. And in no particular order. I realize I'm still an anarchist in this way, but maybe a little bit of a relationship libertarian. Everything has a market price. I still want a girlfriend who has a girlfriend. You've already U-hauled your life and you just want a little something extra on the side. FFF, FF, FF/F. We can do all of those things. So that's on the list. On the list again is a boyfriend who has a boyfriend only when I say he can have a boyfriend.
Oh, you want to cuck.
Okay, so there's that. Then there is still couple number one for the soft stuff and still couple number two for the hard stuff. Like, so there we are. We're still with the same number of people. We're having salon, we're having dinner. There's going to be transformation going on around here. This will be one of the last. So it could be a year or two. Don't get too excited, okay? But we are fixing up this place. We are doing things so that it can be a social space for me to get up to some shenanigans in my house eventually, years from now. 5-year project. That's where we are. But yes, it's just gotten more detailed. The color has come in. I've done shading, shadow work. It's a piece of work, but I think I can do that. The more I rip my own heart out by dealing with other people, the closer I get to what I'm looking for. So it's okay. The painful process, it's worth it.
Is that it?
You haven't owned up to what your relationship model is, what you want.
I still want a primary partner. I still want a primary partner. Right now, it's going to take some time because I'm a picky little bitch. So, like, I am open to friendship with benefits. I'm open to play partnerships. I have a top in consideration right now because we need to solidify terms and all those things. And there is another person simmering in the back of my mind that I've seen often now. And I was like, I need to approach his lady first before I say anything to him because like it's important. I like couples. I'm open to it, but I still essentially want my primary partner.
So that's where we are. We have redefined defining terms. If you watch the first version of this, I think this has brought us to a point of clarity. We have both grown. We have both seen some more and made some decisions about the way. I really feel like this is engineering the sex life that I want to have. This is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. It's painful. It's not easy. But finding what's an individual's comfort zone to go out there and go for it. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of me.
I'm finding that I need the friends to lovers dynamic first with that person Because the thing that I continue to run across is people approach me being interested in learning about me. And then they find out the things that I do and the things that I enjoy, and they immediately bulk at it and just go. So that to me tells me that there's an expectation and there's an attachment already in the back of your mind that I'm not meeting. I need the friends to lovers dynamic. And this is what we talked about. I need that dynamic first because I need somebody to be willing to let me have my thing, let me shine, learn about me that way, love that part about me, and then choose. Commitment turns me on. Dedication turns me on. Like that's my love language. Learn me. Because these things, like people see me in these spaces and they have this idea that I'm this. It's not the first time that somebody's approached me and said, you radiate top energy. That's just how I am. I'm assertive. I lead. If you're not doing it, nobody else is doing it. So I'm going to do it. That's how that is. Like I went to our event on Friday night and I walked in and the whole room was dead. The whole room was dead. Nobody was doing anything on the mats. Guess what? I walked in. What's going on, everybody? I was like, oh, we were waiting for you to show up. Primal Night's not Primal Night without you here. So I showed up, got on the mat, sat there, and I was like, does anybody want to play? Asked 3 people. And then the person that I told you I was thinking about said yes to me. I need that confidence because people who aren't self-assured are afraid of me. I make them feel inferior without even trying. That's what dominant is to me. You either are or you're not.
I don't know. Because I feel like I'm still growing into mine. It's not that I question myself. It's more like I'm still feeling my oats. There are things I am still learning about myself. I don't think I have a static disposition. Again, very demi. It depends on the person.
That's true. But I think I was like touching more of a conversation that you were saying, like, I need to make myself softer to attract what I'm looking for.
I didn't say that. I said there are things that show who you are.
So what I'm getting at is for me to have to dial myself down and dial myself back, I think it's not going to work for me because I think the person that I'm going to submit to or the person that I'm going to give that part of me myself to needs to also love and be attracted and accept this toppy side and like that about me.
But if you lead with that, the people that are attracted to that are not what you're looking for. My thing is, when you say softer, you equate it with less. You equate it with pulling back.
Right. Okay. So
that's not what I'm asking of you.
That's
not what I'm asking you
about. I hear you. So this is my online presentation. That's the online thing. Everybody who meets me in community sees that I'm playful, I'm silly, I'm goofy. I think we're going to have to just disagree on this one.
I disagree because we've done events and that is how you grow your social circle. You have a smaller local circle, but we're doing events. We are broadening that circle. First impressions, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. And people out in the wild, and I'm learning this, they will look first before anything else. And so if you are presenting something that they are not necessarily interested in, you might be losing opportunities. I have seen you wake up, put on what you are going to wear for the day, and I'm feeling like, oh my God, blown away, lovely. And it doesn't look like what you've got on right now. And it's not less than. It's just different. And I think more authentic to who you are. You weren't there. You were walking outside. You didn't see that person out loud. Not necessarily the most vocal person talking to in general. Looking at you from a distance and like, wow, like sparkly, like. And I was like, okay, see, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. It is not less. It is different and it is more germane, that's a word, to your true nature than anything else. And it still has kind of an edge to it anyway. Listen, I love my goddesses. You know that. You know that. And so it's very much goddess vibes. It's not less. I
think what I'm stuck on is earn me. That's what that is. Earn it. Earn me.
It's 2024.
And like I said, I need the friends to lovers dynamic. I need that. And I think that's important for me. Whether or not I become successful in it, well, check in with me a year later.
Listen, this is a journey. Me can't stop, won't stop. The end of this podcast will be some kind of nonsense in which I'm married. Y'all can throw me under the bus. Like, throw me under the bus, in which I am
It's
married
like,
to a cisgendered male. Everybody has a number. Everybody has a number. I have a number. There is a scenario in which I end up married to a cisgendered man, and that is my one and only.
you say this every single time. Every single time.
Every time it's a reaction, right? There is a scenario. It's a number, okay? And we're talking about 8 figures. We're not talking about 7 figures. We're talking about 8. Okay. I'm going to need like to rent an island for a month and just do intensive psychotherapy. Like I need that
I already
money
told you.
in an
I already
account.
told you. I want to host retreats. I want to do that. So the thing that I'm learning that I've learned at this primal night stuff and by playing, the person that's in the back of my mind that I'm like, I got to check in with this lady first before I ever entertain any idea of reaching out to him. There's just a level of confidence there, confidence and courage. Because there were some toppy guys in there, and a couple of them like I've seen around, and I actually am physically attracted to, I find attractive. But I asked them, and they were like, "Oh no, nope." But this person, he's like, "Sure." He come in, we tussled. And it was the perfect amount of restraint. His attitude was like, do the most damage, go for it. Sure, by all means, go for it, do the most damage. You can try. So, like, that was attractive to me. And then there were a couple parts where he had the opportunity to inflict some damage onto me. And he did just a little bit and then backed off. He did just a little bit and then backed off. And then I had like 3 matches that night. And I had a match with the last one with a gentleman, and he like spanking's on the table. There was a part where he had me, I let him pin me, I let him spank me, and no matter how hard he spanked, I just stood there, and like the whole room started laughing because I just like stopped struggling and I just laid there with this, and he just like, no matter how hard he spanked, he just could not get there. That is attractive to me. And again, I know how you feel about these things, but I'm learning.
Listen. I'm not judging. I have a reaction to it. It's like, oh, no, not my
I'm
thing.
learning.
It's not my thing.
I'm learning. It's like,
thing.
I'm a brat. I'm attractive to people who aren't afraid, because that to me is what brat tamer is. It's like, go for it. Do the most you can.
Okay, so with that, all of the terms that we talked about, what say you? We have the Aftercare After Dark at Gmail. You can write an email, leave it in the comments. I'm still learning. All of the tech stuff will come along. So you might see us later on all of the platforms once we get there. But I would love to hear. I'm nosy, okay? I'm a nosy booth. There's no such thing as TMI for me. And if there is, I will let you know.
Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. We hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. We'll see you next time. Good night.